Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your January 2020 general reading, the first general reading of a brand new year. This reading is for the first half of January from the 1st through the 15th. So welcome everyone, welcome to newcomers, and welcome back to followers and subscribers. And of course my continued gratitude in all that you do to help support this channel. I hope everyone had a wonderful and safe holiday season and are looking forward to this new year. This reading is for the Earth sign of Virgo for the first half of January 2020. That is Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon, Virgo Rising if your Venus is in Virgo, or if you are cross-watching for Virgo as well. General readings, as many of you know, always resonate a little differently for everybody, so if you know your other signs, watch those videos as well. It can be helpful and provide additional information or clarification. And if any of you are interested in reaching out for a personal one-on-one reading, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. Email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. I do offer a wide variety of readings in all the main areas of life for you, or as a gift for friends, family, or loved ones. And you may want to check out the 6 and 12-month overviews that I do, which take a look at what's coming in your life over the next 6 or 12 months. Pretty helpful as we're starting off a new year. People order them at all different times of the year, but I always get a lot of requests for them at this time of the year as people kind of want to take a look at the new year just beginning. So something to keep in mind. All right, let's move right into this reading, Virgo, and see what the first half of January has in store for you. All right, Virgo, we begin with the King of Pentacles. Could be you or another earth sign. Followed by the Seven of Wands. We have the Eight of Swords. Followed by the Three of Pentacles. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy for the first half of January is the Three of Swords. So the Three of Swords usually represents emotional pain of some kind. It's sometimes about heartbreak, heartache, breakups sometimes. Sometimes it's about breakups with that or regarding infidelity or cheating. Sometimes there's a third party involved. As you can see, there are three swords piercing this heart, although it doesn't necessarily have to mean that. But it does represent a sense of emotional pain and perhaps quite deep disappointment. It looks like someone hurt you, perhaps, Virgo, but you're feeling very defensive and very guarded. We do have the King of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands here. For some of you, I think for a lot of you, this represents you trying to stay grounded and at the top of your own energy. Kings and Queens represent individuals who are sitting at the top of their suit. It means that they've reached a point of mastery and self-control and balance and discipline over the character traits that are inherent or natural to their suit. So this is the King of Pentacles, which is governed by the element of Earth. So this is the King of Earth, solid, stable, reliable, hard worker, generous, typically pretty sincere and honest and loyal. For some of you, this might be another earth sign that is significant in this situation: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. With the King of Pentacles is the Seven of Wands, which is fire energy and a very defensive card too. You can see that this man is standing in front of the door to his home, his castle, his keep, whatever it is that he feels very strongly about, has a sense of ownership or proprietorship over it because of how much he's invested. It's something that he sees as his, whether it's an actual thing, a person, a relationship, or a belief system or ideology as well, or a way of life. It can represent that as well. He feels it's being challenged somehow, and there's a sense of protecting and guarding. The King of Pentacles in the tarot is governed by the element of Earth, and it's often about the physical structure of our life and the things in our life and the efforts we put into acquiring the things in our life that make us feel safe, solid, stable, reliable. It gives us a sense of continuity. So Pentacles can represent money, finances, financial or material things, or long-term stable relationships, marriages, etc. The King of Pentacles is sitting at the top of his security and stability, and there's a sense of kind of guarding that right now, whether it's actual financial material issues or you're just being defensive and guarded and protective of yourself because you want to stay safe. Basically, you want to have a sense of feeling stable, because there's a sense here that something is playing out, Virgo, that you feel you can't affect or influence or change somehow. We do have the Eight of Swords followed by the Three of Pentacles. So the Eight of Swords, this is mental energy. Swords is governed by the element of air, and in the tarot this is about what goes on up in our heads, mental, cerebral, intellectual energy. Thoughts, words, ideas, belief systems, ideologies, psychological energy. This is a person who feels trapped, bound, held hostage. It could be by one overriding thought or a whole series of thoughts. But the thing about the Eight of Swords is that the sense of feeling helpless, or that you can't do anything to affect or influence this situation, is somewhat illusionary, meaning that, you know, whatever is going on is quite real, but this woman feels trapped. But what she's actually trapped by is what these swords represent, which is basically what's going on in your head being your own worst enemy. The gaps between these swords she could just walk through. She's on her knees, but nobody is forcing her on her knees. Nobody's holding her down there. The chains which are wrapped around her wrists aren't connected to anything or anyone. She could free herself, stand up on her own 2 feet, take the blindfold off and see her situation for what it really is. But she's allowing the thought that she is trapped be the thing that actually keeps her trapped there and keeps her from actually seeing that there may be a solution to the situation, or that she can free herself or himself from this situation, even though everything comes at a cost, as I always say. Now, what clarifies that is the Three of Pentacles, which is a card of collaboration, teamwork, working together with another person or people to accomplish something you both agree on, or to build something solid and stable, and taking pride in that. Which represents working with at least one other person, if not a group of people, which is all about compromise and negotiation in order to get something done that you have all agreed on. So for some of you, you may be feeling trapped and helpless because, you know, it's interesting because when I first laid these cards down, the first thing that came to me with the Eight of Swords and the Three of Pentacles is that some of you feel like you have to compromise and negotiate in a situation. You feel almost as if you're forced to compromise and negotiate in a situation, but you really don't want to. I look at how the cards relate to each other, not only up and down, but side to side as well. This Three of Pentacles, this card of teamwork, collaboration, compromise, and negotiation, is right next to the Seven of Wands, which is a very defensive card, and it's not a card that works and plays well with other people. There's a sense of feeling very defensive and wanting to stay in the place that you feel safe and solid and reliable and in charge of, because you are the king. But there's a sense of feeling trapped and bound. You may feel obligated to have to compromise something in order to hold on to your safety and security, or what makes you feel stable. And for some of you, you feel like your stability in something is being threatened, and there isn't a way to compromise and negotiate. And the fact that the Three of Swords is kind of the overall energy over it also kind of implies that there's a sense of, you know, of emotional hurt and pain here. I mean, this might be I really feel like whatever it is that's being threatened or challenged is something you really don't want to let go of. But it's almost as if you feel it's not almost, it's as if you feel it's out of your hands. I mean, the Eight of Swords is sitting next to the King of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles doesn't like that. The King of Pentacles, you, Virgo, you know, he's a king. He's worked hard to get to this point of stability and security. He's very good at what he does, whatever it is that he does, and he's able to navigate the day-to-day structure of the world that we actually live in, the concrete world. And he's a king now, and he doesn't like feeling you know, that he's trapped and has no way to affect or influence this situation. I get this almost overwhelming feeling, Virgo, that you're sitting back and watching something happen that's affecting you in a very negative way, and it's causing you a lot of pain, but that you feel there isn't anything that you can do about it, like something is slipping through your fingers. But at the same time, I feel a kind of an anger and a bitterness about it as well. Let's clarify this Three of Swords. What is this heartache about, this emotional pain about? It's about the Queen of Pentacles. So we have a couple on board here, the King and Queen of Pentacles, a very natural match. So for a lot of you, this may be about a relationship, a love-romance connection, or a love and romance relationship. Because the King and Queen are a couple. So this is either about you and someone very close to you, your partner. It could be a best friend or soulmate, but I actually feel like it's more love and relationship. Unless for some of you it's about a couple that's close to you. It could be even a mother or father or something. Perhaps, you know, your parents' marriage is, you know, threatened or falling apart or something of that sort. But I feel like for a lot of you it's closer to home than that. There's some sense of emotional pain and disappointment, maybe even some betrayal. Perhaps you found out that your person, you know, is cheating or has cheated or was unfaithful in some way. And you're kind of caught in these emotions of not wanting to let the relationship go, but yet there's a sense of feeling very defensive as well. I feel like it's early days yet. I feel like whatever this person did that has caused this kind of pain, for some of you it might be you that did this that caused this pain too. It feels very fresh, like it's something that just happened or just happened very recently, because the emotions still feel very strong and heavy and in flux right now. It's like, I don't want to let this go, but I'm not in a position, I don't feel like I can compromise, or I don't want to let this go, but there doesn't seem to be any way to compromise or negotiate around this. And some of you, like a third group of you, I'm feeling, and this was the first thing I got, is that in order to hold on to what you have and what you want to hold on to, you're going to have to, it's almost as if you're forced to compromise and negotiate that which you don't want to. So there's just a lot of, I don't know, it feels like the emotions are very, very turbulent here. I'm going to pull one more clarifying card for this Queen of Pentacles. The Ten of Swords. These are never cards I really want to see for anybody, but particularly not for those of you for whom this may be a relationship issue. Because here we have the heartache, the pain, the disappointment, and the Ten of Swords is the betrayal card, the stabbed in the back card. It does represent that the worst is done, it's over, because tens represent completion. There's a healing light shining through these swords. It's time to stand up and brush yourself off. There's a new day dawning in the background. The sun is coming up. The animals are beginning to return to the scene. Whatever happened to put this person face down on the ground looks pretty traumatic, but the worst has already happened. It is done. I mean, to me it looks like, you know, an almost textbook spread of that one of you in this relationship was hurt, betrayed, perhaps cheated on. We do have 2 threes here, which might be an indication for some of you that this was a third-party situation. But again, this sense of feeling trapped and not knowing what to do. There's so many emotions swirling around here. Let's pull . I'm not sure how this is going to play out, Virgo, because this is the kind of reading that in a general reading is going to play out differently for everyone. I mean, sometimes in a situation like this, even if this is the worst possible situation, that you found out your partner cheated on you, or vice versa, and everything's kind of blown up, and there's, you know, the emotions are still running high, and people are defensive and feeling trapped and not knowing what to do, and some of you want to compromise and negotiate and work this out, and some of you don't. So the outcome is going to vary wildly in a situation like this. But let's pull some guidance and advice cards for Spirit, higher message from Spirit on what is the best way to navigate at least through the first half of January through this situation. We have the Nine of Pentacles as the higher message, advice from Spirit, at least for this time. This is a card about being in your own power. This is a card of independence, self-sufficiency, self-empowerment. It is a card that has an indication of being on your own, or at least pulling back to just kind of take care of yourself. This is somebody who's worked hard to get to where they're at. Nobody's handed anything to this woman on a silver platter. She's reaping the rewards and enjoying the fruits of her labors. And, you know, this is also pointing to you, Virgo. You've worked hard to get to where you're at, whether it's just in financial and material success or the stability in other areas of your life that you've built up. And this is a card that represents, you know, kind of enjoying that in a more independent way. Doesn't necessarily mean, if this is a relationship reading, you know, to immediately leave your partner, but it does represent kind of pulling away and just doing your own thing, taking care of yourself, and kind of just retreating for a while. And the card that was right behind it is the Ace of Pentacles, which represents new beginnings in a very practical, concrete way. It's often a card that comes up for moving, relocating, starting a new job, starting a new project, or a combination of all of those things. For some of you, this could, for those of you, to me, this is reading more like a relationship reading, but it can also represent, and because there's a couple here, it can represent that it might not be about the relationship itself, but it's something that has happened in your lives together as a couple that affects both of you. And it also could be your partner that's going through this as well, and it may have to do with some other kind of outside betrayal or external betrayal outside of the relationship. It could be something at job or work or with family or something of that sort. And the advice is to, for some of you, it might be to actually move or relocate or start finding a new job or get involved in something new that's going to give you back a sense of who you are. Because this is a woman who, you know, this is a person who knows who she is and what she's about, because she's worked hard to gain that sense of self-knowledge and self-empowerment and awareness of herself. And the Ace of Pentacles is starting something new, whether it's a new job or a new home or moving or a new project of some kind. So as advice from Spirit, this would be about starting something new that gives you a sense of that, you know, independent success and self-confidence back again. If it doesn't have something directly to do with about a primary relationship, it at least looks like one that affects both of you, particularly if it has something to do with the career, work, and financial part of your life. And your advice is to start over with something different, involve yourself in something new in a very practical, concrete, or physical kind of way that's going to help you get back that sense of, you know, who you actually really are. Somebody who's worked really hard to know who they are, to be who they are, to have what they have at this time in your life, Virgo, to kind of get it back. And in order to do that, it looks like Spirit is advising you, free will zone, you can do what you want, to move away from the source of whatever this heartbreak or betrayal or conflict and trouble is, and work on getting that back again. And what's going to help you again is starting something new, getting involved in a new something, project, job, perhaps moving. Perhaps this is a situation you need to actually physically separate yourself from, at least for a time. You know, underneath that we have the devil, which is, I mean, there's just so much imbalanced energy around this, and emotions are still running high. So I think it's time to just kind of go off and do you for a little bit. So Virgo, that is your reading for the first half of January. This one was a little on the challenging side, so I'm not going to say I hope you enjoyed it, but I hope it did bring some perhaps clarity or enlightenment to you somehow, or gave you some food for thought. If, again, any of you are interested in reaching out for a personal one-on-one reading, particularly if this resonated for you and there's something you'd like to take a deeper look at, or for anyone you know, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. Email me at maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 7. It's all that I do, so I'm pretty diligent at working with everyone's schedules and my own to set up readings in as quickly and timely a fashion as possible. And I can usually respond to your initial email within the same day with more information, or within the first 24 hours. So send me an email if you're interested, and we'll go from there. I'll see you all again in a couple of weeks for the January 2020 mid-month readings, and I hope everyone has a smooth and peaceful transition into this new year. Take care. Bye-bye.